Today we are finally decluttering Chaos Corner, and it's been a long time coming. I started really seriously decluttering the house in January, and I never imagined I'd still be working my way through it now, but life gets in the way sometimes and that's okay. We're back at it now and that's all that matters. So first, I'm going to give you an idea of why it's called Chaos Corner in this house. Speaks for itself really. It started out as a little area to store some of the toys that the kids like to play with the most, because they mostly like to play in the living room where everyone is, and that's great. I love that they want to be around us and not hidden away in their bedrooms all the time. But gradually, more and more toys have been brought downstairs from their bedroom, and now it's gotten to the point that the box is overflowing. The kids can't actually see what they've got in there, so it ends up being tipped all over the floor. And then, with there being so much stuff and so much choice everywhere, my 3-year-old usually shrugs and walks off after he's tipped it everywhere. Who can blame him, really? He's overwhelmed, I'm overwhelmed, we're all overwhelmed, and it's just not sustainable. It takes so long to tidy up, and that usually has ripple effects throughout the rest of the house, because most of us only have so much time in the day to tidy up, don't we? So I have a plan today to make all of our lives easier. As I'm sorting through this box and deciding what we're going to keep and what we're not, and before I get into the video properly, I'd just like to address my absence in the last month or so. I'm not very prolific in my output at the best of times, but I usually put out at least 2 long videos a month. And as you know, that's not been the case. Well, as a lot of you know from my last short, I found out I was pregnant a few months ago, and I started suffering really badly with hyperemesis gravidarum, as I do in all of my pregnancies. And then one morning, I woke up feeling fine, which is not usual for me. I went to an early scan, and as predicted, with the sudden loss of symptoms, I was told there was no evidence of a pregnancy, just an empty sac, and that it was most likely bad news. The sac was measuring over 6 weeks, but it was really oddly shaped, and at that point you'd usually see something in the sac. Anyway, I got referred to the hospital later down the line just for a confirmation scan, spent the next week trying to come to terms with it, made that video explaining what was happening, and then I went to this scan. And there was a little bean with a heartbeat. And a week or so later, the sickness came back. So I've pretty much been stuck in bed with hyperemesis for 5 weeks straight, not really able to give an update on the situation, but I have seen everybody's lovely messages and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being so kind. After I had a loss last October, it confirmed to me that it's so important to be open and talk things out, and even if it doesn't help you, it might help someone else going through the same. I still haven't had a dating scan at this point, so I can't say for sure everything's okay, but I'm feeling cautiously optimistic for now. And yeah, so I'll be putting out videos when I can, but they might not be as frequent for the next few weeks. I really need to deep clean the whole house from top to bottom, because Charlie's been doing everything, bless him. Going to work, then coming back and entertaining the kids because I've just not been able to. Cooking every meal, keeping on top of everything in the house, and it's a lot for one person to keep on top of. So he's managed to keep everything tidy, but it definitely needs a deep clean. So that's the first thing on my list when I start feeling up to it. And then next on my list is redecorating this whole room, because the walls are stained and looking gross. I want to move all the furniture around and just give it a good refresh in time for Dandelion's arrival. And I've named them Dandelion for now because when I first found out I was pregnant, it was that time of the year where all the little dandelion seeds are floating around the air. And every time I saw one, I'd wish so hard that the baby would stick around. So yeah, back to what we're actually doing here. So now I've drastically reduced the amount of toys. I've gone through and picked the ones I see them play with regularly. I'm just putting those back into this box for the time being, but I'm not planning on keeping this box. My goal was to replace it with something that was more accessible for the kids in terms of categories and not having to rummage through a whole mess of toys to find one thing. Because I just don't think it's conducive for healthy play. It's just a block, isn't it? And I can imagine it's really stressful. And I take full responsibility for not doing it sooner. But I'm on my own journey to organisation too, and I'm learning as I go as well. So I'm not going to be unkind to myself about it. When you know better, you try to do better. So these 2 drawers under the telly are full of miscellaneous stuff, more kids stuff, but it's like pens and play mats, Play-Doh and colouring books. And again, now I can open the child locks, everything just gets taken out and strewn all over the floor and not really played with. So I'm going to get rid of all the pens and take them back upstairs, because we have a storage system upstairs dedicated to art stuff. Some of the books and floor mats can stay in one drawer, and then I'm going to free up a drawer just for Lego. We have 2 of those big Lego boxes full to the brim with Lego, and they get carried all over the house and tipped out. We've tried to convince him that it's okay to just pick pieces out of the box. You don't have to tip the entire contents out over the floor. But so far that hasn't stuck. And it wouldn't be so bad, but he point blank refuses to help tidy up after he's done. So it always ends up that me, Charlie and Rudy are doing it. And his reply is always, "There's so much stuff though, I can't do it." Yes, pal, there is. That's why we say, keep it in the box. So because he doesn't want to help tidy up the mess he creates, I'm taking away the option of transporting the yellow box and tipping it all out. And all of the Lego is going to live in this drawer. And on top of it being a solution to a huge portion of mess in this room, I'm quite happy with the way it looks too. We get to get rid of one of the yellow boxes and it just looks neater and the room's going to be less cluttered. And I know I'll be able to convince Ike it's a good idea because I can be like, look, you've got a whole drawer here for your Legos. So I'm hoping that makes him completely forget the fact that he can't tip it out everywhere. By the way, this video is part of a series of decluttering videos. They're all in a playlist, so if you want to watch my decluttering journey right from the start, you can go and check that out. Because I've come such a long way and learned so much throughout the process. I don't think I'm ever going to be a minimalist, so if you struggle to find decluttering videos you can relate to, or a type of decluttering video that doesn't go to the extreme, you might enjoy those. I know in the past when I've been searching for decluttering inspiration, I've a lot of the time come away feeling bad about myself and like, I can't get rid of all of that and my brain doesn't work like that, or they're at a level that I'm not at just yet. Maybe I'd like to be in the future, but I need kind of stepping stone videos on how they reach that point, not just a before and after. Not everyone can rip the band-aid off, so to speak, and do everything in one go. Anyway, so this is the new storage system I bought to replace the old toy box. I actually bought it months and months ago before I got pregnant, and it's just been lying around the house waiting for me to get round to decluttering. And then the decluttering got put off because I've been poorly. But I decided a kind of Calex unit would be best for separating the toys into categories. So that's what Charlie's building here, with the help of Ike, who actually decided not to be helpful. What is it with kids and polystyrene? They absolutely love it. And hey, I'm not about to stop him having fun and being a kid, but we did say to him, if you want to make it snow with polystyrene, you can be the one to hoover it up afterwards. Good news is he actually quite enjoys hoovering. And when I say things like he refuses to do this or that, a large portion of people find that really triggering. And I often get comments like, why does he have the option to say no? My kids don't have the option, or my kids wouldn't dare. Well, firstly, he's so stubborn and headstrong, the only way I could ever convince him to do something he doesn't want to do is through fear. And that just isn't me as a person, let alone a parent. I try to go for a more authoritative, gentle approach rather than authoritarian. And I have faith that through persistence and patience and observing us and his big brother around the house, he'll get there in his own time. That's not to say he doesn't get realistic, age-appropriate consequences when he chooses not to tidy up. And I'll get back to what I was saying in just a second. But after Charlie spent all that time building this unit, this happened.
Can I put the drawers in?
Yeah, that'd be good, Ike.
Can I help you with the drawers? Yay!
Get one, and you have to open it.
Okay, so...
Why do they look too big for the holes?
They are. Miles too big.
We can put them on top.
Right, well, how have I managed that then?
I don't know, and the smell.
So yeah, me being the genius that I am, got the wrong size boxes for the unit because I thought they were all like a universal size. But back to what I was saying about stubborn kids. His brother was quite similar at that age and he'd have full-on crying sessions if he was asked to tidy up his toys. And now he's the total opposite. And not only does he clean up his own stuff, he contributes to the household chores too. He knows we're a unit and it's important to help each other and that's how we all thrive. So I'm of the belief that they'll get there eventually. And if it does come to a point that I think, right, you're getting to the age that not helping and not being a team player is ridiculous, then we'll go back to the drawing board. But as you saw in that short clip, he's such a sweet boy and he's so enthusiastic when it comes to helping and getting involved. It just has to be something he's remotely interested in. And picking up loads of tiny toys is the opposite to him. It's stressful. And I can relate to that. Too many toys and the extent of visual mess they create in such a short space of time is overwhelming. So hopefully this declutter will help simplify the tidying up process, and it will stop it getting so messy so fast. But yeah, aside from trying to make tidying fun, when it comes to natural consequences of ultimately refusing to pick up toys, it's usually things like, if we don't tidy up our toys, we won't be able to do X, Y or Z. Maybe that's going to the park before dinner. And we do stick to our word. I think that's so important. So it's not that he thinks, oh well, they're not going to stick to their word anyway, so I can get away with not tidying up and still get to do the other thing. It's just that he'd rather go without doing something than tidy up. So I hope that makes sense. I get so many comments telling me we just need to teach him to tidy, like it's as simple as that. And like it's something we've never considered or bothered to do. Of course we do. It's just that he's a very stubborn little boy. And you know what? I respect it. And I hope it means that when he's older, he won't let people walk all over him, and he'll be brave enough to stand up for what he believes in and to speak up for other people too. Anyway, these are the new correct size boxes, and I much prefer these to the other ones. The yellow and grey theme is getting very old in this room, and I know these are still grey. But I'm going to completely change everything up in this room and add a lot more colour and personality. I'm not sure how yet, but that's the plan. And for the 4 boxes, the categories are cars, Duplo, dinosaurs and then miscellaneous. So that way he knows where to find what he's looking for. And if he does go rummaging through the miscellaneous box and he does feel the need to tip it all out, at least it's this small box and not an entire toy chest being emptied all over the shop. The big plastic box was originally gifted to us full of newborn stuff from Charlie's mum, and then as I got older and got new toys, it just ended up being used as a toy chest, us being the resourceful people we are. But it was definitely time for a change, and I really love how this unit looks. I was expecting it to be a lot bigger and quite a bit taller, and the plan was to put a lamp and a plant on top of it to add a cosier feeling to this corner. But this is something we can do later down the line, isn't it? For now, it's ideal. We got 2 more bags of toys to donate. It doesn't seem like there was that much stuff in the corner when you see the bags, does it? But it just shows how much could fit in that toy box. And adding those 2 bags to everything else we managed to declutter throughout the year, I think we got rid of 25 bags of stuff throughout the whole house in total. What a massive weight off, not just physically but mentally and energetically. That's 25 bags of items we no longer have to manage and tidy up from day to day. So I'm very pleased with that and very relieved I finally managed to declutter this last bit. I have a history of not sticking to my word and following through on tasks. And over the last few years I've been working on changing that and building trust and belief in myself. So it might have taken me until July to finally get round to completing this series. And a lot of that was out of my control, but better late than never. I've done what I set out to do. And I hope you've really enjoyed this series. And I'll be back as soon as I can with probably a whole house deep cleaning series. So yeah, this is what Chaos Corner looks like now. So much better.